Hi and welcome back to my orchid life. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you've been here before and are returning for another look, welcome back. Today I thought I'd do a little tour of the grow shelf that I have my Barrina lights on. No, not affiliated with the company at all. I bought the Barrinas on my own just to see what they would do. They do have a little pink hue to them, so when you do take pictures there is kind of a pink tinge to them, so I do have to take the plants out from under here if I want to get a good picture. So if there is a little bit of a pink kind of a shading, that would be why. So let's just start here with the top shelf, and if I can reach, and I can't, so let me step off my stool for a second. I want to show you guys my little mounted Phalaenopsis. It's a soft cloud keiki that I put on here back in March of 2021. But as you can see, she has lots and lots of roots here. She's even got one that's trying to go back in. She's grown the 2 leaves you see right there on the right, and then that one right there. But look what else we have. We have a spike on this one as well as a new root growth there, but isn't that exciting? Let me just set her over here for now, and then I'll get back on my stool so we can talk about the phals that I have up here. So this one back here is one of my rescues. I believe it's rescue number 2. I don't know which one, but she grew this leaf right here, and then she's working on that one, and I do have it kind of strapped to keep it from growing this way, so it'll keep a nice pattern going. But she's continuing to work on her aerial roots. And then this one here is number 3. Let's see. Nope, that's the number 2, now that I can see it. But she's got that big juicy aerial root that she's continuing to grow. I don't see any new leaf growth, and I lied. Let's zoom in on it. Do you see it peeking out there? So that's great. And then right here we have our Twinkle Fragrance Fantasy, I believe. Now, this spike right here, she came with that one. Let's see, can we see it? There it is. You can kind of see it there. There she is. She came with that one, and it's pretty much stayed that way. It hasn't done anything, hasn't grown up, hasn't swelled, it hasn't done anything. But excitingly enough, she has produced this one here. And let's just zoom in, excuse me, on the buds. So they're starting to swell and develop. Of course, it'll probably be December before anything happens. And she now has a second spike back there in the back that is also growing. And if you look, she does have the spotting of the oncidiums they're famous for. I did let her actually dry out unintentionally. I originally did not have a mass around her pot. She is in, let's see if we can pull her out, all moss, perlite, and charcoal. And that moss was drying out a lot quicker, and I wasn't paying attention with her being back there. And then we have Wendy here, who is continuing her leaf growth. So she finished that one. Now she's working on this one. And then my other Oncidium Twinkle, I think this is the Fantasy Showers. But she is, let's see if I can get over here and turn her a little bit so we can see. But she's still working on finishing off those 5 growths. So those bulbs are just starting to develop. So we may see some spikes on her yet. And then next to her, we have Iris. Iris is the one that was in bloom since January, and I cut her spikes off, I think, in September. But as you can see, she's got lots of new root growth, and then she does have that leaf growing right there that's strapped to keep it from growing backwards, like that one leaf right there. Let's see, which one is this? I have to cheat and grab a tag, guys, sorry. Harlequin Splash. So this one here finished off this leaf right here, and now she's working on this one here. Oh, put my strap back up there, and I strapped them to keep them from growing winky. And then we have another Harlequin right here that is finally doing something. She's got leaf growth, and she does have new root growth coming in as well. She sat in a different setup for 1.5 years and did nothing, and put her in here, put her underneath the Barrina light, and she's just taken off since. And since we're over here, let's look at my baby pink soft clouds keiki here. So as you can see, she's got this lovely leaf. This was her first leaf. This was her second leaf. Let's turn her around a little bit so you can see, look how big those baby leaves are already. But do you see that? She has a spike. So we will be able to see those beautiful blooms here shortly. And I am going to let her spike simply because, one, the cakey leaves are nice and strong, and she has, let me zoom back out, sorry. And she has lots of support from the mom with the leaves, and then lots of roots in the pot as well. So I think she's healthy enough to bloom. And here we have a no ID Cattleya, Phalaenopsis. I recently cut her spike. She started growing this leaf, and she's got a couple of new roots in the pot as well. I moved my Cattleya Maxima up here just because I'm running out of space on my Cattleya shelf, but she is still working on her two new growths there with root growth. And then this one here, let me turn it around the other way. This one here is starting to develop, and I'm assuming there's roots inside the pot that we just can't see, but again, doing rather well under the light. And this one here is the DTPS Fullers that, well, she's not doing much. She's not dropping anything. She's not yellowing. And the roots that I had in there when I repotted her are still good. I only put enough water to kind of fill that area right there. And then I let her do her thing. And then I will re-water again once those are dry. And we have our charming green candy here, green sugar candy, sorry, that is just exploding with root growth as well as a new leaf. If we just zoom in there, do you see it coming out? Beautiful. And she does have a little more anthocyanin than she had previously, but I think it's just because she's like directly under that light, but she's fine. And then we have the looseberry orchid house that I got from Orchid Classics. That is still doing well in her pot. Recently cut the spike. It's been less than a month, so she's still trying to decide what she wants to do. Another good news is my Cattleya Volcano Trick Red Lava is finally in recovery. These leaves are starting to firm back up. Of course, they'll always have that wrinkled look just because she was so dehydrated, but they are starting to firm up. And let's see if I can turn it around. That new growth is continuing to develop, and as we can see, she's getting quite a few roots in the pot as well. So still no roots on the outside that I can see, but she is in recovery, so that is awesome. And then let me step off the stool and move it out the way so I don't make a mess here in a minute. We'll start back here on the Cattleya shelf. So I have this Cattleya. This is that white Cattleya that was sold as the, I can't ever remember the big fancy name. But anyway, she was supposed to be soft yellow with pink in her, and she ended up being white with yellow in the middle. I'll post a picture so you can see, but she resembles the Hawaiian song, The Virgin, and I think that's what she is. But I recently put her in this charcoal rock here, and she seems to be okay. I'm watering it every 2 days right now just to kind of flush and get it acclimated. Once I see roots, I will back off on that, but for now I'm keeping high humidity more at the bottom, making sure to drain it well. This is one of her latest growths. The leaves are firm, and she is staked because she does have this bending habit here that makes her a little unruly, so I'm trying to control that a little bit. This here is another new growth that I think is completed because, as you can see, maybe you can't, let me just zoom in. Do you see right there, there's eye swelling as well as a new growth right there at the bottom. And then she does have another new growth further in the back that is acting the same. So over here, let's start in the back, is our Cattleya Maxima. Get to the side here, and maybe right there, there we go. So you can see that new growth that she came with right here is continuing to grow. She is still in her nursery pot that I received her in, and I will keep her in there until that new growth grows, develops some roots, and then we'll get her repotted into her clay pot. Next to that is the Pottenera Dick Smith crossed with the Horus Maxima. Again, that new growth is doing well. And Nina did a video a couple of weeks ago, or maybe last week, about light training. And when you grow under lights, you don't have to train them as often. Now, if you have a bright background, you see how it's trying to go that way? So I had to turn her a little bit to force her to come up some, because she was going straight into that wall when I had her turn the other way. Next, we have the Pottenera Dick Smith Paradise. So we have both parents of this one. And it is, let's see if we can find the new growths here. So this one here is the latest new growth finishing off. So far, I don't see anything as far as any bud spike or sheath or anything, and that's fine. She probably won't bloom for me on this one, but she does have a couple of new ones. So she's got that one, and then there's several in the back. I don't want to move her around too much, but hopefully one of them will rebloom for us. I did purchase her in bloom, so I will post that bloom. This one here I think is another Hawaiian Song virgin, because she has the same growth pattern, leaf structure. Everything about her is the same as the larger one that we just looked at. And here we have the LC Sagreek Wax Silk Ball that I received from Paula from Hillbilly Orchids. And we have good news. Sorry about all of the moving, but again, I'm trying not to move the plants. Look at there. We have us a new growth. Let me hold her a little steady. So that is good news. Good news. We finally have new growth on her. And then here we have the Hilo Super crossed with, oh no, it's the Golden Super crossed with Hilo Grand, who, let me move back over here. Sorry about all the moving around there. But this is her latest growth. So she's finished the leaf. Now the leaf is starting to get wide like this one here. So what it does is it grows a really skinny leaf. And then once the growth is complete and it starts its root growth, that's the root growth down there at the bottom, then what will happen is this leaf will start to get wider. And here we have a bloom off the Dendrobium no ID Phalaenopsis, or Dendrobium Phalaenopsis no ID, however you want to say it. But we have the bloom from the back bulb that is in our leca. And as you can see, it is just exploding with roots. And if we come back over here on the side, and let me just lift her out real quick. There we go. And all those roots are starting to go down in the pot as well. Dripping water all on the floor. Get everybody situated back in there. There we go. The thing is with this one though, as you can tell, she doesn't have that top sepal. So I don't know if it's just because it was the blooming off of a back bulb, or if that's just how she's going to grow. And if she is, you know what, I'll take it. It's still kind of cute. And in front of her we have the Brasidium White Knight, who her new growth is coming right along. Her new roots are coming right along, and they are going down into the pot as well. She is starting to absorb this leaf here, which is one of the older leaves, as well as this one right here, which is the oldest leaf on here. I moved my Brassivola, little stars, onto this shelf a little further away from the light, because I had her on the bottom shelf and the light was only about that far away, and she started developing a lot of anthocyanin, and I don't know that that is too much, so I just pulled the light back a little bit. Again, lots and lots of new growth going on in the pot, and no blooms as of yet, but that's okay. We'll get blooms one day. Then we have this no ID Dendrobium Phalaenopsis that was sold as a nobly that I put under here hoping to encourage something, and of yet I don't see anything. She's only been under here for about 3 weeks, so we'll have to wait and see. And then we have a Nodosa crossed with Little Bird, Cattleya, oh, not Small World, sorry, Nodosa crossed with Cattleya Small World. That has these lovely blooms. Look how pretty. I just love that pale yellow, and then with that kind of white, and then the pink splotching. And then if you really look in the lip, You can kind of see more of that yellow. It's kind of a greenish yellow, more like a chartreuse color. But this one here is upside down, and we do have another spike coming right here. There it is, see? I'm not sure if it is fragrant or not. It's only been open a couple of days fully. So I've been testing it at night because of the nodosa. During the day, I have not gotten any scent off of it. And then the BLC Fort Watson Mendenhall, I also repotted into charcoal lava. And here we have this new growth that is finishing off. But again, we have a new growth right there. And it doesn't have that blackening that they've been having in the bark. So I'm hoping to avoid that rust look where it's getting too wet before the leaf opens. And we have Jane Austen, who she still has her sheath in there, and it is growing, so it is still green, but I recently repotted her into this bark and the clay pot. Oops, stop bumping her, I don't want to mess her up. She's only been in there for a couple of days, but I went ahead and did it because she was producing some new roots, and being a bifoliate, I needed to take advantage of those new roots and put her in a new setup because the next growth would have grown outside of the pot, and I didn't want that. Next to her, we have the front portion of the Dendrobium no ID Phalaenopsis that the flowers, I should probably cut the spike because the flowers are starting to go over, but they're still pretty enough. I'm going to keep them probably for another day or so and then cut them off. But see right here where this one has this top sepal and this one here is missing it. So, for those of you who follow me on Instagram, I posted the two pictures earlier this month. So, all right, and then we have Dewy Forest Kudos that also got potted into her final home for a few years, clay pot with some bark. And as you can see, she's got some roots growing here. And that was one of the reasons I went ahead and potted her when I did, because those new roots were coming in. And her new growth is still working its way, and let me see if I can move her without messing her up too much, but it looks like she is going to have a second direction of growth because this one here is now swelling and working on growing as well. So hopefully we'll get a bloom from her in a year or so because she is still a seedling, so we'll see, or maybe she'll bless me with a bloom off of one of those two. And then we have the which one is this? Naomi's Delight, who I am just waiting for some roots to come off of this girl so I can get her out of this mess, because every time I water this, there's a little frosty smell, and I know it's seedling bark, and she's probably been in there for a while. And if she has the moss middle like the Jewel Orchid did, or the Jane Austen did, then that's probably need to get her out. But, I mean, she's doing rather well. She does have a little bit of spotting here, but again, I think it's just from the light. It's not, doesn't spread, and the spotting that she came with hasn't spread, so I'm not too worried. And then this one is the one with the long name, the BLC Willamette Wong crossed with BLC Once Mendenhall. But I made a BB. I was trying to clean the sheath, and cleaning the sheath, you see it? I broke it. So, lesson learned. I need to stop being so picky about how they look. But the other new growth, this one here, is still doing its thing, and she's still growing her roots. She's doing really well. I'm really proud of this one. Again, a seedling, probably, I'll say another 2 years off of blooming. And then we have this one here, which is the Spring Dance. And see how it has this? It always, in this bark, these little ones tend to get this blackening, and then it's green. And I even moved the bark away from it just to make sure. So if anybody has any idea what might be causing that, and when I do water around the edge. I try not to water anywhere near the new growth to keep the water from going in there. But if you have any ideas how I can fix that, let me know. Eventually they too will go into larger bark and or lava rock, charcoal rock, something like that. And then my Phalaenopsis baby shelf here. So my Yaupon Evergreen is working on her new leaf here. She's got a bud coming on this one and a bud coming on that one. The Sanderiana is finishing this leaf. Well, finishing, she's working on it. One of the Barrinas, her leaf is doing rather well. The Tying Sheen Flying Eagle, her leaf is getting large and is starting to firm up. The Japonica finally has a nice leaf, and it looks like it's going to be a nice big juicy one, not long and skinny. We'll have to wait and see. And next to her we have, I'm going to pull the tag out because I cannot say this name to save my life, the Inscriptiosiensis. Can anybody say that 4 times fast? But she is also working on leaf, roots, and then let's see if we can get in on, where is it? There it is. Do you see she's working on that bloom there with lots of happy sap on her? And let's zoom back out. And then here she's working on another bloom, and look at all the happy sap on there. I'm kind of glad I don't currently have any issues, because I think thrips and ants would like that happy sap. Let me know in the comments. And then my, which one is that? The Yin's Flying Eagle? No, Yin's, oh my goodness, Yin's Black Eagle. She's working on her leaf. She's got some new root growth in there. And then the Phalaenopsis Summer Rose Blue Star, her leaf is coming along rather well. And my Hieroglyphica here has roots going in the pot, roots coming out of the pot, roots under the pot, and she's working on a leaf. I'm waiting for a bloom. And then we have my Barrina Carula that she's working on. Let's see if I can turn her around a little bit. So she is working on this root here, and then if we just kind of zoom in a little bit, you can kind of see she's got some more roots coming there. But she started growing that leaf, and then she just kind of stopped. So I think she's a little stressed, and we'll just let her be. And then we have the Mini Mark, who has roots growing there. She's got roots all in the pot, but dun 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 boom. All right, guys, this is why I wanted this orchid. I've got to take her out of that pink light. Do you see that bloom? Oh my goodness, look at that orange lip, that burnt orange lip with that beautiful speckling. Just gorgeous. That one there that we're looking at is the first one that she opened up about 3 weeks ago. And then she's opened the one in the back. This one here, get out of the glare, this one here is just opening, and then she's still got a few more. But that is why she's not fragrant, or at least I can't detect any fragrance. But isn't she just gorgeous? And then another good news, my Sogo Vivian Leaf's Edge is growing a new leaf, and let's just move her around. We have a spike. So this will be my first blooming of her. I know she's bloomed in the past, but this will be my first blooming for her. So that is gorgeous. I can't wait to see those in life. Pictures are not a substitute for seeing things in life, are they? Let me get these back straight. Then we have the Violacea cross back with Seedling. She's finished this leaf, which is a little bit smaller than the previous, but I'll take it. But she did start this one here, and she does have new roots growing. And we already talked about our Yaupon. All right, so let me just sit on the floor. Back here, we have the Sea Breeze something another crossed with Cattleya Love Knot or something. I'll post the names on the screen. But do you see how close the lights are to these? And I had the little stars down here. So it's the only one that just really worked on the anthracene, and the rest of them are doing rather well. But again, I'm waiting on some new roots on this new growth right back here so that I can get her potted up in her clay pot. We have, let's just go front back. And then we have the rhodrumnia, which is same care as a Tolumnia, just exploding with all those roots. Look at this. Let me take her out of here. Look at all those roots just blowing up. And then she has that new growth right there. She is in a bark and moss mix in this net pot. And I water her every other day. I just let it sit in some water, let the bottom moss absorb, and then just let it work its way through. But I do mist the top roots every morning. Here we have my struggling little Phalaenopsis here that she is continuing to work on new leaves. So eventually she will bloom, and then we'll be able to name her. And here we have the sun circle that is still working on here, but she is finally starting to work on roots as well, so that is good. I did put her in this clay pot, and then she'll have plenty of room to grow, so she won't be disturbed for a few years. And I finally brought Miss Cooper in, my Vanderpearl Cooper, and I just put her under this grow light because she's used to all the bright light. And she is starting to get a little tinge of anthocyanin right here, so I think that's a good sign. But she's continuing to grow on her roots. Still no spike, but that's okay. Then my Pottenera Dick Smith seedling that I got with my last Jewel Orchid purchase, I just decided to put it in some charcoal lava just to kind of see what she does. And so far, she's doing fine. Like, the leaves are staying nice and firm. And again, because it is a seedling, I run water through here every day. And then here we have my Hookeriana, my Deliciosa Hookeriana, who she's doing one little bloom at a time. I just recently lost the bloom on this one, but she does have, let's turn it around. Here we go. Oh, I have two for a change. Normally it's just one at a time. Awesome. So now we have two on this one, but she's just continuing to extend those spikes and just give me a bloom on each one, just one at a time. Sometimes I'll get one on this one and one on this one, but usually it's this one, then this one, this one, then this one, back and forth. And I'm thinking I may have to put her somewhere else on a higher shelf if she continues to extend those, because I really don't want to spike them. I kind of like that look. And then we have the Hariella retrocala that has 3 blooms coming. She's got 3 spikes. Recently, the 3 that were on there, I cut those off, so now she's got 3 more coming. So ever since she gave me that one bloom, she's just continued to bloom and bloom, as well as you can see, she's got new leaf growth, and then she's finishing off this leaf right here. My Cornicervi Cattleya has finally decided to grace me with a leaf, so that's exciting. And then back here we have, I think this is the Elaine's Taylor Cruel Smith. But that new growth right there is working rather well, still in its same nursery pot. I think I may have to repot her though. Nope, she's got room to grow. So I will just leave her in this setup until she outgrows the pot, because this bark is nice and fresh. It's really hard, it dries really quickly, so she will stay in that until she outgrows it. I brought in the Echeverria that were sitting outside as well, and they are continuing to look well. As a matter of fact, my Lola right there is starting to get a little tinge of red, which I absolutely adore. And then my Kingianum I moved under here as well. It looked like she wanted to try and spike, and of course she's still a seedling, so I wasn't expecting it, but for those of you who grow Kingianum, is that a dried spike? Is that what she was trying to do there, or was she trying to make a keiki? Hopefully it's a spike, or was going to be. And then we have, which one is this? Pink lip here, that initially, as you can see, had a little bit of a deficiency, and I'm thinking it was probably magnesium, but this new leaf that's growing in is growing in fine. So I think I've corrected that one. And she may have to come out of here because her roots, she's starting to dry out really, really quickly, but I will wait until probably spring, or maybe another 6-7 months. But she is starting to take over that pot and dry out quicker than I want her to. And this is just a back piece off of the, which one? Not the Dewy Forest. I'll post it. but it was still nice and healthy, so I'm just putting it in there. If it grows, it grows. If it doesn't, not a loss. And then here we have no ID Phalaenopsis cakey that grew a keiki, and both keikis are now producing leaf after leaf, so that's kind of a cool thing. And then we have another soft clouds here that is got lots and lots of roots in her pot, and I thought I saw a spike on her the other day, but it wasn't. And I think that is it, guys, on the Barrina grow shelf. So let's just take another look. Oh, real quick. So I've noticed that some of my novelty summer phals, their leaves are getting lighter, like really light. And are they getting too much light under here? I've been trying to figure it out, or maybe that's just how these are supposed to look. Because like the Sideriana, the dark leaf one here, and then the mini mark, as well as the leaf's edge, like their green is staying green, so I'm thinking maybe, and like this is still nice and green, but if you look at the Cattleya, do you see how pale she is in comparison to, say, the Violacea, or even the Japan is kind of a lighter green than when I first got her? Or is that maybe a magnesium deficiency? Do I need to up my magnesium on these guys? Because I only fertilize them every other watering, and the way I water them is I just set the pot in a little bit of water, let it absorb water up to about the middle of the pot, and then I put them back in their decorative containers to finish absorbing the water, so because I don't want to water from the top and compact my moss. So let me know in the comments down below what you think might be causing the lighter coloring in some of my summer phal novelty phals. All right, guys, I appreciate you coming by, and we are, you know what, we are just going to stop it right here on this beautiful, beautiful mini mart.